Good morning, students. Today, we are going to discuss the topic penetrance, expressivity, and gene interaction. These are very important topics in the aspects of genetics, and these are going to help you to prepare yourself for the different competitive examinations as well as for your semester examinations. So, let's begin our today's discussion. So first we will discuss about penetrance. Penetrance, what is the definition? Definition is penetrance is defined as the percentage of individual having a particular genotype that express the expected phenotype. So let's uh, having an example of a person or a group of 100 people, a group of not 100, 10 people having a brown eye color. We term it B, having a brown eye color. Gene, not the genome, not the expression. They have a brown eye color gene. But among the 10, only 8 people have the brown eye color. So now, if we convert it into the percentage, then 8 among 10 people of a particular population, that is 0.8% having the expression of that brown color phenotype. So that is called the penetrance of a genotype in a population. For example, let's take another example. If we examine 42 people having an allele for polydactyly. Polydactyly means having multiple fingers that may be either in toe or either in your hand, and found that only 38 of them were polydactylous. So the penetrance would be 38 among 42. 38 divided by 42 is equal to zero point 0.9, and if you just multiply zero point 0.9 with 100, it will be 90%. Okay, so 90% is the penetrance level of that particular genotype in a population. That means 90% possibility is that the gene will express and give its expression throughout the population. So now the genetic basis of the dependence of one gene or another is deduced from clear genetic ratios. However, only a small proportion of genes in the genome lend themselves to such analysis. Like, one important property is that the mutation not exhibit decreased viability of a of fertility relative to wild type, so that the frequency of recovery of mutant and wild type class are not skewed. Now, we need to understand that some of the genes are present in our genome which are constitutive in nature. Whatever the scenarios are, whatever the conditions are, whatever the environmental parameters are, they will express. But some of the genes within our genomes are also like that. They will express depending on several outside parameters or influences. In some cases, the gene may present within us, but the gene may not express themselves. Like in genetic crosses considered thus far, we have assumed that every individual with a particular genotype express that expected phenotype, like this R1, RR. That we have already learned this type of crosses, that having a R, capital R and small r, here capital R and small r, we are able to get capital R, capital R. Second one is the capital R, small r. Here also we get capital R, small r, and here we get small r, small r. So if a person having this R, they will always produce round seed. That means the a presence of the capital R gene will always express themselves. And when smaller is present in a particular cross, they will always produce wrinkle seed. So for some characters, such an assumption is incorrect. So such an assumption is incorrect for some characters, like the previous one. That means the genotype does not always produce the expected phenotype, which is very important. The genotype does not always produce the expected phenotype. The genotype may be there, but for some reasons, for some external influences or the internal different parameters, the genotype doesn't execute themselves. The genes doesn't execute themselves. So we call it a incomplete penetrance. We call it a incomplete penetrance. In this particular case, we call this a complete penetrance. This is the complete, exactly complete. This is the complete penetrance. So 100% of the population is having the R, capital R, or small r in a homozygous condition, having this phenotype. But in some cases, they may give the incomplete penetrance also. So let's move to the next slide. So in this particular picture, we will consider the first picture now, and after in our later stage of our discussion, we will consider this other two pictures. So in this particular picture, 9 eggs are there, and among these 9 eggs, this purple color we may consider that the capital P. The capital P gene, if present, the in the organism, that organism may produce a purple color egg. But in some of the cases, like 1, 2, 3, and 4, the organism may not be produce purple color egg. So in this 9 population, only 5 are having the expressive, having the penetrance or the expression of the genotype. So that means 5 by 9 into 100 will be the percentage of penetration. That will not at all 100%. So we call it either variable penetrance or incomplete penetrance. Fine. Now, incomplete penetrance is also seen in human polydactyly. The condition is of having extra fingers and toes. There are several different forms of human polydactyly, but the trait is usually caused by a dominant allele. Remember that this is a dominant allele, but in some of the cases, occasionally, people possess the allele for polydactyly, but nevertheless have a normal number of finger and toes. That means, though they have a polydactyl gene, which is a dominant one, then also they are having a normal finger and toes. In this case, the polydactyl genes are not fully penetrant. We will also, I may have a polydactyl gene, but that gene is not penetrant at all. So that is the importance of penetrance. Now we comes to the expressivity. This particular terms is actually deals with the expression system. A related concept is that of expressivity, the degree to which a character is expressed. That means among that among these 9 individual, it may possible that now we consider this picture. Among these 9 individual, it may possible that each and every organism is able to express themselves, but the level of expression varies. These particular eggs have very lower level of expression. These have the moderate level of expression. These two, sorry, these three, and these two have a high level of expression. That means variation is in the expression is called expressivity. Right? So what is called expressivity? The degree of expression. That means the variation of expression. The degree to which a character is expressed. You need to get clear about all these concepts. In addition to incomplete penetrance, polydactyly exhibits variable expressivity. Some polydactylous person possess extra fingers and toes that are fully functional, whereas others possess only a small tag of extra skin that may not be considered as an extra finger also. But the meaning of that, their level of expression in case of polydactyly is also varies depending on the expression of that particular polydactylous gene. Fine. Now, any kind of genetic analysis, such as human pedigree analysis and prediction of genetic counseling, can be made substantially more difficult because of the phenomena of incomplete penetrance and variable expressivity. So now let us consider an example. This is an example of incomplete penetrance and variable expressivity together. In this particular case, in the second case, each and every individual are having each and every individual are having the expression that might be lower or might be higher, but each and every individual are having the expression of the gene. But in this particular case, what happens? In this particular case, each and every organism doesn't have the expression of the gene that we consider as a variable penetrance. But in their expressions also they differ. Wherever they express, their expression is different. So in this particular population, a particular genotype is having variable penetrance. That means that each and every organism of the population may not have expressed the gene, and also the organism who have expressed that gene may have expressed differentially. That means their degree of expression may vary. That is called the variable penetrance and expressivity together. For example, if a disease causing allele is not fully penetrant, it's difficult to give a clean genetic bill of health to any individual in a disease pedigree. That is not fully penetrant. They are not fully penetrant. That means the presence of that particular gene doesn't necessarily cause the disease, but they may cause the disease or they may not. On the other hand, pedigree analysis can sometimes identify individuals who do not express but almost certainly do have a disease genotype. They do not express but almost certainly do have a disease genotype. For example, a particular individual in this particular pedigree, this particular individual is having a gene. This particular individual is having a gene which is able to cause disease, but this individual is a healthy one. So the gene is not penetrant in this case of this organism or in case of this individual. But in their second progeny, that gene is expressed in both of these individuals, but the same gene is not expressed for this one. That is the case of variable expressivity in and penetrance, variable penetrance and expressivity. So lack of penetrance illustrated by pedigree for a dominant allele. Individual Q must have the allele. Yes, this Q must have that allele because her mother is having that particular allele, but it was not expressed in her phenotype. that allele is not expressed, that expression is not there. An individual R such as cannot be sure that her genotype lacks the allele. This organism doesn't have that guarantee or surety that they lacks the allele. They may or they may not. Now, we can consider another example of having a variable expressivity shown by 10 grades of pebble spotting in the beagles. So they are a very famous dog, having taken participated in different kinds of Hollywood movies. But these dogs having different kinds of phenotypes, and that all phenotypes is basically based on the level of their expression. If we consider the black color, this black one is present in each and every dog. Each and every dog, black color is present, but the level of expression differs. So we call it the expressivity. But in case of the brown one is not necessarily present. The brown one is also actually present in each and every beagles. So that is the question of variable expressivity. They are present in a population, but their expression greatly varies among that population. Fine. So now we come to our third topic and the last topic of this class, which is gene interaction. Now, genes exhibit independent assortment but do not act independently in their phenotypic expression, which is very important to remember. Independent assortment may be there for the gene. That means they are going to assort it in the next generation independently. They will not depend for their assortment, but their phenotypic expression may not be independent. Their phenotypic expression may be dependent on the effect of some other genes. Fine. So instead, the effect of genes at one locus depend on the presence of genes at the other loci. That means it is possible that a particular gene which is present in a particular chromosome of this area, I am taking the chromosome number 7, maybe for an example. So it may possible that the two genes present in chromosome number 8, they may have an influence on the expression of this gene. This type of interaction between the effects of genes at different loci, genes are not allelic. They are not allelic genes. They are present in a completely different position. Is termed as a gene interaction. Right? With gene interaction, the products of genes at different loci combine to produce new phenotype. So it may possible that for a certain individual, this particular gene have its effect, or in some another individual, this particular gene have an independent effect, but they may have both of the genes may have effect on this gene, or both of the genes may not have any effect on that gene. So there are all different kinds of possibilities are there. Other expression may also varies. Their level of interaction may also varies. So now, depending on all these kind of conditions and considerations, we are able to produce new phenotype that are not predictable from the single locus effect alone. And in the next slide, we will discuss with a very common vegetable we use in our everyday life. That is the bell pepper, or we commonly call it a capsicum. Capsicum is actually its scientific name. The scientific name is Capsicum annum. It is determined in this way: the plant produces pepper in one of four colors: red, brown, yellow, and green. So if you see the example that in a previous class also, I have told you that it may not be possible that the dominant one is uh, dominate across the population. It may possible that the recessive one is the main population, mean percentage of the population which present in the current conditions. So in this case also, if you go to any market, you generally found a green vegetable, green capsicum, green wallpaper. So, but when we look at its genotype, it is the recessive one, but it predominates the market, predominates the market. But the dominant one, that is a red wallpaper, they are not the predominant variety within the market. But when we cross the red wallpaper with the green wallpaper, they will produce some of the red wallpapers. But in the F2 generation, when we cross the red wallpaper with the red wallpaper of the F2 generations, are both are heterozygous. The initial parents are the homozygous, but they are the F1 generation are the obviously they are the heterozygous. They will form four different colors. They will form four different colors. That means their expression and percentage is not at all dependent on the single gene itself or its interaction. They are, this is not the case of incomplete dominance or codominance also. This is the case of genetic or gene interaction. Because here we are able to find four different, two exactly new phenotypes. So when F1 is crossed with another, the F2, the ratio is 9 red, 3 brown, 3 yellow, and 1 green. This dihybrid ratio is produced by a cross between two plants that are both heterozygous for two loci and papers. So this particular color is basically because of its interaction. Because of its interaction. Just remember the if R and capital C R, sorry, in case of R and small c, they will interact, their interaction, and smaller, capital C, small c, their interaction is completely different. So that these combinations of colors, this combination of color is basically because of the interaction between these two genes present in two different locus. A dominant allele C at the second locus cause decomposition of green pigment, chlorophyll, to chlorophyll, and recessive allele C allows chlorophyll to persist. The gene at the two loci then interact to produce the color seen in the F2 papers. Fine. So now that is why this two gene is required to maintain each and every color of this wallpaper. And one helps to produce the color and another helps to retain the color. So that is why, because of their variable expression, they are able to produce their different interaction and combination. They are able to produce different color of bill paper. Fine. So this is the end of our today's class, and we will meet again with our in our next class. Till now, thank you and goodbye.